see. Is it working? Maybe it's not. Is it working? Is it actually working? Hello? Hello? Two out of two. Let's see. Twitch said it was back up again. Alright. Ooh. Oh no, last live just now. Wait, am I live again? Hello. We back? We back? Are we back now? That's quite a delay. Okay. Right, well. Allow me to quickly make a post. Okay. Right. Cool. Well, the bus is exactly where I left it. My keyboard is not exactly where I left it. Come on, come back over here. There we go. Cool. I might just... fuck it, pink socks. We're back. Doing 35 miles an hour. I mean, honestly, an extra 3 hours of delay isn't really going to change anything. Plus it means I can actually see if there's... Oh no, I still can't see if there's anyone at that stop before pulling over. It's limited to 35, but it still can't even hit the limiter on the way up hills. Come on. Come on. You can do it. So I am curious what you guys think about having an over-the-shoulder cam. I'm wondering if that'd be more interesting than foot cam. I'd need to tidy up the wiring around this side of my desk a bit though. Trundle, trundle, trundle. Oh my god, this top speed is a meme. Yeah, I figure it might be more interesting. Or I could just get a much wider angle face cam. I was expecting to be going much faster than that on the way in. .35 mile/h speed limiter. Is that London spec? Is it London that does 35 mile/h speed limiters? I thought they did 40. Yep. Only the smallest of delays. Yes, that was all... Actually, I think that was all your fault, personally. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm going to blame Ross.
Hello, single,
100% Ross's fault.
Hello, mate.
Return, please. Tala.
Ooh, give me a day rider, mate.
Yep.
Signal, please.
Only 5 hours late, it's fine. Don't worry about it. I wonder how late I actually am. Oh, and I've just done 30 miles an hour all the way down the rural stretch. Yeah, it's a very good bus. Is this after the texture optimizations? Because that's one of those things that's hard to see if it's done right. Yeah, see, it loaded an enormous amount faster. I might go and take it onto Grundorf in a bit, because on Grundorf it's extremely noticeable on the previous version if you panned out and then back to the bus again, because the whole game would freeze while it was loading up all the textures. And it just didn't with this. Yeah, that's probably fine. No, it's not fine. Oh, I've got collisions on.
Jesus, Mike, take it easy. Public carriage vehicle. I'm going to be complaining about this experience.
You're going to be complaining about this experience, are you? Collisions never work for me, though. There we go. 4 minutes isn't going to make any difference anyway. Ignore that. Just ignore that. We're all going to move on as if that never happened, alright? Nobody's going to mention it ever again. But collisions never work for me. Shit, you're right. Yes, Swan Street is not collisions friendly. Yeah, that is excellent. That is good texture optimization. Good job. Well done. I approve. Now this is probably one of the lighter British buses now. And to be clear to anyone watching, I don't mean physical weight. I mean that it is probably one of the most performance-friendly British buses now, I would have thought. I mean, it'll still be a bit hungry because you got the CCTV screen above your head. I don't know how much of a difference that makes. I know on the C400 we decided not to bother with light maps on the poles and to just use the actual lighting for the pole lighting. God, I need to switch the AI on this. I've just left the game open for the last 4 hours. Yeah, I guess. They tend to be quite low-res textures, because you can normally get away with missing out a lot of detail on them. Oh, hello. I've got the force feedback bug. See, I don't know whether to do that or whether to try out the
Who don't single,
yeah.
please?
whether to do that
Single,
or whether
please.
to try out the open topper. Though then again, from a driving point of view, oh yeah, they all want to get off because I killed a man. Okay, B5LH. No, they still want to get off. Alright, bye-bye. Have a nice life. No, they still want to get off. Are you finished yet? Are you quite finished? Oh yeah, I can make the London veg go mad. So you'll have to tell... So does... I assume that all of them have a speed limiter that's dependent on the repaint. So you'll have to tell me which repaints don't have the speed limiter. All the Volvos, including the B5LHs. Yeah, that's another way of dealing with it. You know what? People are probably going to do that and release it as a fix, aren't they? On like day 2 of the pack being out, somebody will release a fix on Fella's film that fixes low top speeds.
Can I have a child return, please? Thanks.
Hello,
A
lad.
J Rider, please.
So I assume that
Can
the
I have what you call 1 day pass?
I assume that the brain no work. No, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. 100% forgotten. So this bus now only does Grandad speed. .35 miles an hour everywhere, regardless of the road conditions. Doesn't matter if you're outside a school or if you're on the motorway, it's 35 miles an hour. Oh, the force feedback bug has gone again. I should up the, lower the object minimum visibility percentage. G27. Oh, I forgot how my own map works. It's fine. Logitech G27. I have the handbrake
Can
on
I have a
the
child return,
shifter.
please?
Single, please.
A child single,
Is that
please.
hot? Oh, my shopping's going to be ruined with
Hey,
heat.
dudes.
Oh yeah, I turned the heater all the way up
Rider,
before I
please,
started
driver.
for the memes.
Cheers, me duck.
What temperature is it in here now? 27. I should probably turn it back down again. The Gemini 2 B5LH 2-door. Okay. Does that one not have the speed limiter? Oh, the other thing I didn't mention about my setup is probably reasonably obviously, I have modified the pedals quite heavily. Seem to remember there used to be a bug at this stop where you couldn't, the passengers wouldn't disembark, so you'd just be stuffed. I definitely took off a wing mirror there. The restream viewer numbers seem to be a bit up and down all over the place at the moment. Sometimes it's showing me I have 13 viewers, and other times it's showing me I have 2. Maybe it's failing to get the data from Twitch sometimes, and it's only showing the data from YouTube. Yeah. See, I had 20 earlier before Twitch decided that it didn't want to anymore. Hello. Alright. My Finally a project is heating up a bit again, so I need to balance other things I'm doing around that again. Yeah. I'm not sure how well prepared I'm going to be for Spa. My final year project. I'll move the mic closer as well. My final year uni project.
Jesus, Drunkard's like a lot serious. Man, that's a bad driver.
Oh boy. Remind me whether it's in the map settings or the vehicle settings where you turn off the complaint sounds. Because that's just annoying. Man, that's some bad driving. There's definitely a way to remove them, and I just can't remember what it is because I haven't done it for... Actually, I don't normally do it at all. Do they still complain with the eye shift, or was that only on the... That's the one. Yeah, I'll do that while I'm doing it as well. Hello, see, there you go, now we have 11. I was only 4 minutes behind, and that was even with killing a man. Right, so... Brain. Common. OMSI2. Check Discord, you pleb. Set var speed limiter option 3. Vehicles. I don't think I have the... No. MS Gen 3 pack 1.1. I should probably just quickly remove the original Gen 3 pack for the time being so I don't get mixed up between them. Texture, repaint, B5LH G2 dual door. I will just put it in both. So this one already had speed limiter option 3. Oh, that's the Badger repaint. Cool. Okay. And the other thing is I need to grab my AI pack. Ignore that there's 3 of them, all with various names. Slap it in there. Grab maps. Botwa 3, AI lists. Then all the normal cars. Right, everything up to there. And back we go. Hang on, that ought to be that one too. Cool. That ought to sort it. What was the other thing I was going to do? Ticket packs. Let me just check which ticket pack it uses. Where's the global.config? There. Ticket packs Botwa. Oh yeah, and it's all the 2 bads, isn't it?
Do you know how to drive properly?
Right. We're consigning them to the history books. There we go. Nobody will ever complain ever again. This is how you deal with criticism. What you do is you just wipe the voices of the people who are criticising you. That was Automobilista 2. That wasn't OMSI. I should play Automobilista 2. They've just fixed, hopefully, the launch day bug with joining multiplayer servers, which was a bit annoying. You couldn't join a server that was already in progress. You could only join one as it started. But apparently that's been fixed now. Right. Well. Now we wait. I am interested in how much quicker the bus is going to load now, because its texture footprint should be a lot smaller than it was. Cool. And no, not botwical. Oh, there we go. I did make the fire engine very loud. Ah. 10 hours of fire engine AMSR to sleep and relax to. I should have waited for it to go out of sight before I started loading the bus, shouldn't I? Oh well. $10.5, thank you. Why does the OMSI list 11 before 10? Why is it decided that's the right order to put things in? Right, will this fire engine go away now, please? Like, I know I made it, but will it go away? But if it's in the order of the bus files, then Windows should be... well, whatever. It's going away. Oh no. I see another one in the distance. Maybe... just maybe... what I should do is I should lower the free... Did I have them turned right up so that I could test them or something? Either that or there's just a fire over there. No, I didn't have them turned right up. They're at the minimum. Oh well. That's such a lazy engine response. That feels like fly-by-wire, alright. There's definitely an engine management computer there that's stopping you revving it as fast as it'll actually go. Cool. Right, we were on Motherfucker 4, weren't we? Motherfucker 3? No, Motherfucker 4. Going in 1 minute. Cool, right. So 35.2. No. It's realistic. You gave me the rattles. So I'm gonna use them.
Hello, mate.
Hi.
Single.
Can I have a child single, please?
And these people are not allowed to complain. Complaints are illegal.
Can I have a return ticket, please?
We
Excuse me, Doc.
People's Republic of
single
China
driver,
now.
please. Thank you, driver.
Here's a day ticket, lad. Can I have a return ticket, lad? Can I have a return
No.
ticket?
I will
Go ride the
cheat.
love.
Alright, return ticket, please.
Are you driver? Go ride the love.
A child single, please.
Can I have a day pass, please, driver? Thank you, driver. Single, please.
Excuse me, I'm very busy pressing 3 buttons over and over again.
Return, please.
Can I have a child return, please?
Oh, give us a single.
Ooh, give me a day rider, mate.
There we go. Is there any way that you can turn off button ticket selling when the ticket machine isn't signed in? So instead of giving it access to the variable which controls ticket dispensing, instead you give it access to something that's controlled by whether the machine's on or not. Have I got driver's head movement on? I don't know. I prefer playing with it off normally. Now this might look like the ambulance as it used to be, but as you get closer you might realise that it now has a step plate down at the bottom left. Apparently the registrations aren't working, but it now has a step plate down at the bottom left, and the access ramp is 3D. And also it doesn't sound disgusting. Not that you can hear that over the sound of the cab window rattling. All of the registration plates are broken, so I'm assuming there's a problem in the registration plates file for the map, rather than in my vehicles. Oh no, I know what the problem is. I didn't install the fonts for the AI vehicles.
Hello. May I have a single ticket, please?
Return, please. Lovely. Cheers.
Right, so last time we were 4 minutes late, even after crawling through the countryside at 35 miles an hour, and Momsy, and having to stop for 4 minutes because we killed a man. Yep, you're absolutely right, Ross. I forgot to install the fonts.
Lovely. Cheers.
I'm tempted to get rid of the AI version, the AI LOD level, which ditches the hubcaps altogether when it gets to a certain distance. Because it means that you can see them quite clearly popping in. I mean, I fixed the full vehicle colour pop-in problem. So you'll notice that as the Borzoni, so the parked vehicles are the modified Borzoni AI. So those are all made in the traditional way. So every different colour is
Can I have a child return, please? Thanks.
a full 1024 by 1024 texture. On my vehicles, every colour repaint is a 1x1 pixel texture, but because... oh, apparently somebody wanted to get off. But because I've put another texture like... oh, shit, yeah. I don't know how to deal door. Oh my god. That was interesting. Wonder what that was caused by. But yeah, there's a solid block colour texture, and then over the top of that there's the layer which contains all of the lighting detail, the panel gaps, etc. Oh, I'm so glad I changed the siren sounds on my emergency vehicles. God, the originals were bad. Yeah, we're cutting across in front of an ambulance. Oh, hello. Are you taking my job? Oh, no, he's broken. Why are you broken? Why are you broken? What we're going to do is we're going to roleplay, right? That bus has broken down. And we're replacing it and we're picking up their passengers. So we're roleplaying now. We're going to have a great time. Arriva has taken over from Stagecoach, which has taken over from First, which has taken over from Bob's Buses, which has taken over from NBC Devon. And that's why they've got this new demonstrator, which only arrived yesterday, and they haven't had time to paint it into the new colours yet. I'll be uploading 12 repaints on Fellas Film this weekend. What I should do is I should add a chat command to
Return, please.
Hello, driver. Can I have
a chat command !bonk, which adds to a bonk count, which is the number of times I've run into a curb. Hi, friend. Willkommen ins OMSI. Right, let's see how much this thing likes hill starts.
Oh, hello. I wonder if I could have... thank you very much. Just a single, please, mate. Lovely. Cheers.
Right, let's build up some... Oh no, it doesn't rev in neutral. Oh yeah, because it's an automated manual, not an automatic. Okay, there's the strat. What you do is you hold your foot flat on the floor and then you release the handbrake. I think I've got all of the West Country's emergency services in the area right now. Hello. NBC 3510. What do you reckon? What are your thoughts on this? B5TL, dual door, v1.1. Now, most important feature, it rattles. B5LH. Shush! I didn't invite you. Who invited you here? No, I didn't. Show me the invitation.
One way.
Or
Return,
another.
Thanks very much.
May I have a single, please?
I don't see anything in the readme of your buses which says if you stream it, you are by extension inviting me to your stream. Is that an automated manual rolling forwards like a like an automatic? Is this I-shift actually a void? No. It couldn't be. It simply can't be the case that this is actually just a void that has been bodged into something vaguely similar to an I-shift. It would be outrageous if every single transmission in OMSI was actually the same transmission underneath. I figured they might. Yeah, that would mess up the clutches, wouldn't it?
A child return, please.
A die rider, please. Hey man, give me a single.
The
Thank
AI
you very
sounds
much.
so much
I'll
better.
return ticket, please. Cheers, me duck.
Hello,
Go
mate.
rider, love.
Give me a die rider, mate.
Like, they're still not perfect, but they're not obtrusively bad like they used to be. I'm talking about my AI rather than these as AI. Like, you don't hear one go past and go, oh god, make it stop. You going? No, you're not. Okay. Bonk, bonk. But the thing that I'm most excited about in this update is that Kyle has gone back over every single texture and has optimized them to within an inch of their lives. So you won't see any visual differences. Oh god, it's doing it again. I wonder what causes that. You won't see any visual differences compared to last time. But it loads a hell of a lot quicker, it uses a hell of a lot less VRAM. You're much less likely to see white textures as you drive around in this thing now. It's now very nicely optimized, as well as good looking. And you can hear the engines now. Yep. 30 miles an hour. Oh man. We're killing it. We're probably actually killing it based on lifespan. I mean, actually the B5LHs have been lasting quite well. There are several that are reaching like 10 years old that are still going strong. It's the B5TLs which die.
What? Just a single, please, mate.
Yep, stripy socks now.
Lovely. Cheers.
Oh, now you want to get off. I checked my dashboard. That's an interesting bug. Release candidate 1, hey? I think there's going to be a release candidate 2. You should probably just check to see if the bell has been pushed within the space of the last X seconds. If it has, don't trigger the bell sound. And no, I haven't been streaming for that long. Twitch died. Like, Twitch as a platform died. Nobody could start streams for the space of like 3 hours. Hello, the official Nerdy Enderman. I'm glad you're here. We don't want any unofficial Nerdy Endermen around here. That is illegal
Hello, a day
and
ticket,
banned.
please.
A child
Note,
return,
illegal and
please.
banned. Not just illegal, but
Hello.
also banned.
Me you're looking. Can I have a return ticket, please?
Hello.
Cheers, me duck.
One return there, please.
Welcome to my normal audience.
It's
It
a day
is
ticket, lad.
twice the size of
It's a
my
day
sim
ticket,
racing
lad.
audience.
Thank you very much.
And they're here to watch me drive buses. Oh boy. That bell spam. It's the carol of the bells. Bug fixes live on stream. Release candidate 2, here we come. Boy! Yeah, boy! He's putting it that way for the non-programmer veg. I really should stop using the word veg outside the OMSI community because it really means something quite different. Look at that speed! Well, Joe here does it in real life. In Manchester, no less. He gets stabbed 3 times a week.
May I have a return ticket, please?
Like, having the patience to drive buses in a game is one thing, but having the patience to drive buses in real life with real people getting mad at you every day. Like in OMSI, if I get annoyed at people getting mad at me, what I do is I go and delete the sound files for it. See that bridge warning there? That bridge warning there is lower than the bridge. Yep, I'm being chased. I'm trying to escape the law. Ross probably has a spreadsheet of the timetable for this route, and he's checking where I am against it. Of course he does. Where's the fuzz? There they go. It was an ambulance. It's unlikely that social distancing will be got anytime soon. Like, I mean, we still have the worst per capita death rate in the world. We have done for a long time. It's been almost eradicated in parts of Europe. In New Zealand it has been eradicated. It's just everywhere that voted in a brand new right-wing government about 4 years ago. Sorry, I'll stop getting political. Oh, Brazil's had the same problem, and guess who else voted in a lovely new right-wing government a few years ago? I said I'd stop getting political. Is most of the view in that camera my knee? Right, how far ahead or behind am I?
Here's a day ticket, lad.
1 minute.
May I have a day ticket? Thank you, driver.
A child
Okay,
single,
then.
please.
Yeah.
Day rider, love.
A child return, please. Can I have a child return, please?
One odd pattern
One day rider,
that I've
please,
noticed is that every country currently being governed by a woman is doing surprisingly well. Like New Zealand, Germany, Anyway, shall we stop with the politics? I keep saying I'll stop with the politics, and then I keep starting again. I need to not do that. Yeah, keinen Politik. Instead I'm going to talk about why does every language other than English gender every word? Why is it necessary? I've been trying to learn some other languages in the lockdown. I've been trying to learn German, Spanish. And I've been doing all right. I can basically speak German, except my vocab is crap because you have 3 times the vocab to learn because you have to remember the gender of everything. Yeah, the thing is, German has a perfectly functional neutral, das. Like, just make das the singular and die the plural, and boom, language fixed. It doesn't even follow its own rules, like Käse, for instance. That's cheese. Now, there's 2 components of that word, which suggests that it should be used with the word die preceding it. It should be used with the feminine or plural. One component is it ends with an E. That suggests it's feminine and it should start with D. And the other thing is it has an umlaut over the vowel. So it's Käse, not Käse, or Käse. And that suggests it's plural, which also suggests that it should be used with D. But no, it's der, it's man cheese. Oh no. No, it's not man cheese, no. No. Moving on. Similarly, why is it die Frau, the female woman, der Mann, the male man, der Junge, the male boy rather, and das Mädchen, the neutral girl? I just don't get gendering in languages.
Return, please.
You're just making...
May I have a day ticket,
die Kinder
please?
makes sense
Ding
because
dong.
that's just a plural. And die
Driver.
Kindern would be a bit of a mouthful.
Hello, driver. Can I have a single, please?
It would be das Kind. Oh, look, he comes crawling out of the woodwork at the mention of man cheese. Also, look, I'm driving your competitor's bus on stream and advertising it. Give me free content. Well, I'm not likely to get a Fanatec sponsorship anytime soon, which is what I'd actually like. So I'm going to start begging for buses. And then I'll go and open up the files and complain about why everything's got 3K textures on it. Yep, that's me.
Hey, Joyrider, love.
I mean,
Thank
here's
you
my
very
general
much.
plan, right? My general approach to the OMSI community is try to make as few people mad as possible and then get free stuff off all of them. So, you know, I've ended up with free London, early buses of the West Country, free Gemini 3s, you know. The good life. It's not exactly the highest sponsorship in the world. Yep. The first thing I do anytime that I go to France, which is not that often. In fact, the last time I went was like, okay, was it 2 years ago? A 3-year-old child on the bus, but they're pressing the disabled bell. I'm glad it's not Thursday today, because if it was Thursday today, then I would have a lot of work to do for my final year project and no time to practice for Spa.
A single ticket, please.
But yeah, they're
Thank you very much.
a child on the
driver.
bus
Can I have a
busy
single,
pressing
Thank you
the
very much.
the disabled bell, which sounds like a fire alarm. Hi, elephants. Hello, that's who's been missing all this time. I don't know. Oh no. Now there's a thing. So take a look at the car in front of me and the car on my left. And the one on the left has the registration plates working. That suggests that I might have accidentally used a different version of the font on just that one vehicle and none of the others. Because the font's missing for all the others, but it's missing for all the others, so that means they all use the same font. God, I want to make a better sim than this. And clang. 50 miles an hour in a street-lit urban area, that sounds fine to me. Right, which version do you guys want on the other way? Open top? Street deck? This game's lighting is appalling. So this map is one that myself and a bunch of others
Ticket, please.
made a few years
One
ago.
way.
Oh, hello. But yeah, this
One
game
day
is...
rider, please, driver.
It was
Driver.
made in 2011, and it was terrible then, and it's still terrible now, but it's the best we've got, because it's the only one that actually cares about the simulation. And mods. The only thing that's kept this game alive for as long as it's been alive is the modding. But I want to build a better one. And I've been trying to enlist the help of Kyle, who made this bus. Or at the very least, exclusive access to this bus.
Single.
Or not exclusive access, but access.
What? Give me a die rider, mate. A die rider, please.
Yeah, this map isn't a particularly pretty one. We've done better. But this is old! It's built using really old stuff, and it really shows its age. Like, look at the modelling on these buildings. Yep. Oh boy, Freeman's buildings. Oh shit, you wanted to get off there, didn't you? Yeah. Apologies. Keep in mind, this is a preview of this vehicle. It's not finished. Stutter. The thing that's amazing about this game is how it manages to simultaneously look so hilariously outdated, but also perform like absolute garbage. I have no idea how they've managed it. Like iRacing, like it looks a bit outdated, not as outdated as this
Single,
does,
please.
but a bit outdated.
Thank you very
But
much.
it performs
A child
great
single,
unless you have
please.
cube maps turned on, in which
Hello,
case it
driver.
performs
Can I have a
terribly.
single, please? Can I have
Hello.
a return ticket, please? Cheers, me duck.
A return ticket, please.
A return ticket,
Oh god,
please.
don't look at the way this old lady moves her head. Like, wait for her to complain at me in just a moment. And if I just give her change before...
Excuse me. May I
They've
have
never
a ticket,
fixed that.
please?
It's been 9 years
Excuse
and they
me.
still haven't
May
fixed
I have
that.
a ticket, please? Thank you, driver.
Ooh, give me a day rider, mate. Lovely. Cheers.
9 years. It's taken 9 years for them to not fix that. That is actually Joe. Yeah, thing is, iRacing has been worked on by a team of professionals for all of its life. OMSI was made by 2 people while they were at uni, and then they had a falling out over one of them whose girlfriend wanted to have a third of the proceeds from it, and then one of them left, and now the other one's abandoned it and is selling a new sim which looks almost as bad and performs just as bad and is much more complex to use for 3 times the price. So there's a rundown of OMSI history. But people still like it because things like the windows are squeaky and that kind of thing. Like that's often used as sort of one of the key driving factors to OMSI is the... I mean, everything in it is interactable. Yeah, that's the thing, it's still the best that there is. And that's why I feel like I can do better. I don't think Lotus
Hello?
is going to be the replacement that
Busy
people want.
return, love.
And that's why I want to do better. It'd be very hard, but I reckon I can do better. And I reckon the starting point for doing better is taking a generally well-used, acceptable game engine that has decent lighting and doesn't perform like a pile of garbage. Now, I know that I could do it relatively easily in Unity. Well, easily, you know what I mean. But it would be nice to do it in Unreal. Hello, didn't you turn up about half an hour ago? Yeah, I want to build a better sim.
A child return, please. Thank you. A child return,
I want it to have a much more user-friendly
Hello,
editor.
driver. Can I have a single, please? Thank you very much. Joy rider, love.
A child single, please.
Yeah, I want it to have a much more user-friendly editor.
Joy rider, love.
I want it to look better. Like, I know that I won't be able to create AAA grade graphics, but I want it to at least look like it's from this decade. And I want it to cost less than £30. Okay, maybe less than £35. Certainly less than 40. Definitely less than 60, yeah. Like, if I charge more than £70, then you can come straight to my house and ask for the £80 that I charged for it back. The other thing is I'd quite like it to not just have buses. Yeah. And then once you realise that actually it was worth the £100 that you paid. No, not trams, trains, boats and planes. Like, trains, there is more than enough stuff out there to simulate that. I haven't been ignoring you. I said, didn't you turn up half an hour ago? There you go, 17 seconds off. Let's wait for this fire engine to go away. Looks like TSW might be a step too far. But just looks better. Like, hang on. Bog... Oh god, Ross has just sent me this. You're going to see this. Ross has just sent me this. He actually has a spreadsheet open for the timetable of this route. Oh god. Right. No, that's not correct. But... let me just pull the chat back up. Oh, I hate motion blur. But yeah, basically I want you to be able to build a city like as easily as, like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it quite the right way. I think the best way to describe what I want to do is somewhere halfway in between Cities, Skylines and OMSI, if that makes sense. I want to have sort of a strong emphasis on the world building side of things, but on more of a micro scale than Cities, Skylines macro scale. But I also want you to be able to get down on the ground and drive around it. That would be my ideal sim. Bus Sim 2009 has shitty physics, shitty graphics, no modability capability. Modability capability? Yes. It's not a sim. It's looked at in the same way that... oh god. I would say in the same way that Forza's looked at by sim racers. But it's worse than that, because Forza at least looks good. Hang on. Bog, check your messages. Okay, so this is an experiment that Kyle and I did a while ago, ignore the resolution, but this is literally just importing the body of the B5LH, not the B5LH, apologies, what is that? That's the street deck, into Unity, which, as it turns out, is extremely simple to do. And this is with no fancy graphics tuning or anything. This is not with, say, a proper reflective layer added to the body or anything, or warped panels. Anything like that. It's just how it looks out of the box. And, you know... that could work out to be pretty nice, I think. But yeah, Unity I'm a bit wary of because Unity games tend to have performance issues. It would be very easy to build it in Unity, but I would be worried about the final product having performance issues. But then again, it's OMSI we're talking about comparing it to, so it's a pretty low bar, if I'm honest. And also I know a bunch of people who have experience in C#, which would be very useful. Right, street deck. Oh, hiccups are back. Which one do we want? Also, scripting for the game, whether it was made in you musically untalented whatever. Shall we take the Hev? Shall we take the long Hev? You can laugh at me not managing to make it round the corners. Hello. Oh, it has old sounds. Bollocks, I just placed it. Hello, 37 people. I think that's a new record. Hi. Yeah, I'll get rid of it as soon as it's loaded. But yeah, I reckon I can do better. That is a long boy. That's an extremely long boy. Yep. 11.5 is lonk. That's lonker than a lot of buses from Hong Kong. Speaking of Hong Kong, oh god. China, really? In before banned. Oh, a lot of police action out there today. So how are we all doing today then? We have so many people here now. Are you all here to hear me spill the beans about the new sim that I want to build? Because, yep, these are new sounds. Because don't hold your breath before, like, oh, I don't know, end of this year. I'm not saying don't hold your breath for release before the end of this year. I'm saying don't hold your breath for any significant news before the end of this year. Yeah, I have no idea why. You'd think, right, that sim racing content would be more interesting than bus simulators. But English-speaking bus simulator content that's reasonably well produced is quite rare. It's a bit thin on the ground. So there's a small market, but you can capture all of it. Whereas with sim racing, you're competing with an enormous number of other people. That's my theory, anyway. That's the only explanation I can come up with for why my bus streams are so much more popular than my sim racing streams. Yeah, that sounds like a street deck, alright. Yeah, my max was 13, I think, and I averaged 6. Yeah, those do sound nice. Shall we go in the back? Yep. No, I've spent quite a lot of time on them while I was living in the northeast. Yeah, that sounds very street decky. That's unmistakable. SPR slicks. We're not splitting into camps on this stream. I hate all the drama that goes on. How, right? How does playing with pixel buses get people so angry at each other? I just don't understand. Right, 35. We were on the route motherfucker 4. So it looks like now we're on the motherfucker 1. Weaponized autism. I mean, honestly, you're possibly not too far off. Speaking as an autismic myself.
I'm seeing that.
Like, a lot of people who get interested in buses quite possibly get interested in buses
give us a
because
single.
they have to travel by bus.
A child return, please.
Which can either mean they're very young
Oh,
or they are
return,
unable
please.
to get a driver's license.
Hello, driver. Can I have a single, please?
I am by no means saying that this is the case for
It's a
everybody.
day ticket, lad.
I know a lot of very nice people in the bus sim community,
Riser, please.
Can I have a child, thank you?
but I feel like some of the
yeah.
argumentativeness might stem from that fact.
Ooh, give me a day rider, mate.
Return, please.
Alright, return ticket, please.
When does this one set off? Oh. Does that mean that I've left the engine on too long? Ages. Well, there's suddenly a lot more people there, but no more people here. I like the shudders as it goes into reverse. That's very 4-cylinder. Yeah, the shudders make it a hell of a lot more realistic. Oh, I really like those shudders. I like how stereo they are as well. So how many people watch back my content on Twitch after I've streamed it? Because I've got stream recording turned on. But I don't know how many people actually use it. I mean, I guess I could just look at the streams and see how many people watch them back. I really doubt many people have watched the 24 hours back, because they'll just have looked at it, seen 24 hours and gone, oh, no. Bing. This is a long boy. This is a tight corner. Unnecessarily tight, some might say. I'm just going to mount the curb. I could have gone all the way onto the other side of the road, but I'm just going to mount the curb. AMS2. No, talk about sim racing all you like. Any topics of conversation open. Except politics, because we've already been there and done that.
A day rider, please.
I really like
A day
it.
ticket, please. Thank you, driver.
Single.
I think the content base is
Single.
still a bit limited. God, those
Hello, lad.
animations are bad.
I'd like a day rider. Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello,
Seeing
driver.
that.
A day ticket, please. Thank you, driver.
Are we going to close the doors with the emergency buttons? There we go. We've made Kyle happy. Yeah, I really like AMS2. We've made him very happy. I really like Automobilista 2. I think the content base is a little narrow. The UI is a bit messy in some places. Particularly the way that you select cars in certain series. But the thing that I really love about it is the force feedback is so nice. Like, I don't really know how to describe it, but it just feels super natural. Like, when the car starts to step out, you can really feel it, and you know what to do about it. The cars just feel so natural to drive.
Hello.
Yeah, I
Can I
don't
have a
really know
child
how to
single,
describe
please?
it other than just natural feeling. Though I was hoping to do a little bit of multiplayer testing yesterday evening, just to try out some of the new content, sort of with other people online and see, just sort of see what it's like with other people around. But they had a launch day bug with the multiplayer where if you tried to join a already ongoing server, your game would just crash out to the desktop with no warning. Apparently they fixed that now. They released a patch about 2 hours ago. It is on sale at the moment. Like they, I think they were doing a 40% discount
A
for the
child
last
single,
part of
please.
early access, but they've decided to continue
single
that through
ticket,
the Steam
please.
sale as well.
Thank you, driver.
But I think it
Just a
is on
single, please,
sale
mate.
at the moment.
Single.
I'm not sure. Either that or they just haven't raised it to its full
Who's our
price yet.
driver?
Return, please.
But, I mean, I don't want to hype it up too much because the content base is still very narrow. Has a beautiful Bathurst though. The content base is very narrow, and I'm obviously not the best sim racer in the world, so I'm not sure my opinions can be taken as gospel. But I felt like it's the best force feedback I've felt on a G27. Oh boy, children, children. We were just talking about drama. Yeah, I think I got it when it was £25, which would be about $35. Yeah. I think that's the price they're keeping it at for the sale, and then they're going to raise it once the summer sale's over. Okay, I'm fine with a bit of language in my chat, but the next time somebody calls anybody else a Studio Polygon arselick, they're getting, let's say, muted. Favourite cheese? Context dependent. Though you know what, I'm going to be very, very childish and say that the cheese that I always look forward to, and you're going to laugh at this, but if I go to France, the cheese I always look forward to is actual full-sized Baby Bells, because in the UK we only ever have mini Baby Bells. And in France you get a full-sized Baby Bell, and you can take it to the beach and cut it up into thin slices. I know, right? I thought you'd think I was childish. Yeah, the street deck does sound good. Yeah, the Beef OTL sounds pretty good. The street deck sounds really nice now. Got to give Badger credit where it's due. These Enviro 400s all seem to be dead at the moment. I've not seen a single one moving. I wonder what the problem is. I'm not going to be able to get out of here the normal way, so I'm just going to reverse out.
Single,
Hi.
please.
A child return, please. Thanks.
Do the HEVs sound much different to the normal ones?
Return, please.
That's a wimpy ass horn. Right. Let's tell you what, this wouldn't make it very far in the Indian market with a horn like that. DAF horns are great, so are Scania horns. I'm starting to feel like that's an insult that I don't understand. Basically, if you call anyone anything, then I'm probably going to ban you. Because you have a habit of getting on my wick, and I'm tempted to just not take any of it. Do we have any mods in here right now? You don't need guidance to reverse on Gainsborough, where you you stop in the middle of a main road and reverse into a side road of oncoming traffic. See, the difference is everyone knows what you mean. And your intention is to wind people up.
Oh, pen. Here's a day ticket, lad. Are
Single.
you driver? Here's a day ticket, lad.
See, that sounds like a compliment to me. I'm wondering if I can do anything to improve the appearance of the back end of that not a Mercedes.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, see, the thing about jokes is you're meant to make somebody
Hello,
else
driver. Can I have a
laugh.
single, please?
So there's a police car immediately behind me, but which one's the siren? Is there an ambulance behind me or something? Oh boy. What can we do up this hill? Come on. 5 litres of power. 5 whole litres. That's less than the Americans used to put in, like, an ordinary 4-door sedan. There we go. Ross is a moderator. Actually, is Ross a moderator?
Okay. Alright, mate, give us your return.
See, the one I was driving earlier turned out to have a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit
A
on it.
child return, please.
Hello, driver. Can I have... Thank you very
The
much.
difference is this one
Child
weighs
return,
18
please.
tons laden, whereas an old
May I
American
have a
saloon
ticket,
car
please?
weighs about 16 tons laden. So, you know, it's completely different. Turns out the police car wasn't immediately behind us, so we're good. Driving OMSI for a while is sort of hypnotic. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, you can see why the engines in these things don't last more than 5 years. Yeah, that's because B5LHs have like a 50 horsepower electric motor alongside the 200 horsepower diesel engine. Yeah. See, a Gardner 6LXB, right, as well as using less fuel than a modern engine, will also last a good 20 years if looked after. One of these Nissan 5-litre engines does not last like 3 or 4.
Single. Lovely.
Hello, BKG.
Cheers.
I apologise for the C400 not being up to spec. I feel like there's a server which you're all talking in. Oh, bloody hell. Like... yeah, I mean, there are like 40-year-old fleet lines and Atlanteans, older than that, which still have their original engines in. And then there are B5LHs, not B5LHs, sorry, B5TLs, which are on their 3rd engine already.
Hello. Can I have a child return? Thanks.
Can I have a child single, please?
Hello, driver. Can I have a single, please?
One day rider, please.
It's
What?
a day ticket, lad.
Return. Lovely. Cheers.
See, it's interesting doing the streams because I get to see a bigger cross-section of the community than I normally interact with. Because there's a lot of people who don't talk on the forums, and who are in servers on Discord that I'm just not a part of. So it's interesting seeing that broader range of people. It's also nice to have complete control over what's said and be able to just shut it up at a moment's notice. That makes everything better. All opinions are better when I can police them. Yeah, and that, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, what do you use the new Discord, or not Discord, Twitch Moderator Studio, or whatever it is? Yeah, I don't know how much content they're planning on for AMS2. Oh, yeah, that's the thing it was, wasn't it? Speaking of coming here to look at the sneak preview of new content, what do you want next? I'll do one more run and then I'll call it a day. Open top? It's got to be the open top actually, really, hasn't it? We've already had the B5LH. We had the two-door original front B5LH. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of open top. Open top in the rain! That's the one. There's going to be an old lady here at this bus stop and I'm going to ignore her. Oh no, there wasn't for once. Yeah, we're doing open top. I have turned down the number of emergency vehicles. Good evening. Yeah, it just doesn't have any torque. Like, look at this hill. Look at this gradient here, right? This can't be more than 1%. And I'm barely capping 40 miles an hour. It's completely realistic. Come on. That's broadly because you're here. Now they're probably limited to 35. Right, driving this, you don't need analog throttle inputs for this. You really don't. You just need on and off. Oh, long boy. Tight corner. I think it's more like nothing or nothing. See, there you go. Completely flooring it coming out of that corner. Nothing happens. You can just floor it with full lock and nothing will happen. Also a good description of early Trident retarders. Right, how are we doing with this schedule? We are...
Single, please.
2 minutes early? Am I reading that the right way round?
Hey, rider, please drive. Cheers, me duck. Just a single, darling. Hey, rider, please, driver.
Am I reading that the right round? Are we 2 minutes early or 2 minutes late?
Can I have a return, please?
A child return, please.
Single.
Hang on. Too early. 13:22 at Berry Pomeroy. I think you mean 14:22. Well, looks like we're sitting here for 2 minutes. Oh look, we've sat here for 2 minutes. Yeah, you just floor it everywhere and it doesn't move. I mean, you're never going to knock over the old lady who just got on with her shopping, are you? You might just about be able to pull the skin off a rice pudding. If you were really determined. Come on, you big lazy apeth. And now I can't see out because... Bog! You need to add another camera view to every single bus. For this one specific junction. Uh-oh. Somebody's in trouble. Come on. 40-mile-an-hour limit's not a problem. This bus stop, bit of a problem. I like IMX's tendency of making awkward bus stops.
Child return, please.
May I have a date? Thank you, driver.
There really are a lot of emergencies in the West Country right now, aren't there? Nothing going? No. Where's my one more left head turn view? Yeah. He has a tendency, he's really good at designing maps from the ground up, which somehow still feel natural and flow into areas pretty well. Which is probably just because he spent a long time building maps and also a long time driving. Oh, they wanted to get off there. Well, you're not getting off there anymore. Yep. Though our playing fields in my village today were completely full of people playing football. Like gaggling together and all passing to... Whoa, hello. That was presumably the force feedback grabbing onto one of those centerline markings.
Return, please.
Hey,
Give
driver.
me a die rider, mate.
Can I have a return, please?
I did that on the way up as well. It's just those markings are a bit out of the road surface, I think. No such problems in Buses of the West Country 3, fortunately. I mean, I guess I could do the last run on Buses of the West Country 3 just for double the excitement. There won't be a timetable or any AI buses. There will be a bunch of areas with scenery unfilled, and the performance will be a bit spotty in places. But I could take it round Buses of the West Country 3. Right, better not be anyone coming around this corner because I am coming through.
Just a single, please, mate.
Alright, mate, give us your return.
Oh, I return ticket, please.
Hello,
Hello.
driver. Can I have a single, please?
May I have a single ticket, please?
You may indeed. Okay, what is this red for? Am I a minute ahead? think I'm a minute ahead. Hello, man in a van. Not sure you meant to take it that literally.
A day rider. Lovely. Cheers.
Can I have a child single? That's not enough change.
Oh, I'm
Hello
return ticket.
there.
Lovely. Cheers. I'd like a day ride.
Ah, thank you very much.
I hear a C400. Hello. You're going to clip right through me, aren't you? Because OMSI AI has no idea of the word social distancing. The problem was that... Oh, hello. The problem was that I had hit the take change button too early, so he hadn't had a chance to take his change off me before I'd taken it back off the cash desk again. Swan Street's going to be interesting. I just sort of gave him his change and went, whoop, nope, not for you. What do you think of this AI, by the way? What do you reckon to it? There is that. Aren't a lot of the B8 RLE is 12.8 meters? or-
Hello. A child single, please.
Can I have a return ticket, lad? Excuse me, duck. Can I have a return, please? Thank you very much.
I mean, obviously the registration plates are broken at the moment, but that's fine. See, I need one more over-the-shoulder view on the left side. That's what I need. Oh. I mean, ignore the ones that are parked, because those are the Bassani ones, not my ones. Oh, there's the no kick down.
Whew. Can
Right,
I have
nearly there.
what you call one day pass?
Has this woman ever taken a bus before? I'm sorry, you were too slow. Old lady. Way too slow. I'm guessing it's somewhere that sells boards with garlic bread. Yeah? I'm slow enough, I can't have anyone else being slow on my behalf.
Here's a day ticket, lad.
I'd like to do an AI tractor, but I don't have the ref material for one. That would be you, would it? This time, gear off. Right? Apparently they no longer exist. Traffic lights working perfectly, I think we'll find. Everything is fine here. Bonk. That's probably what caused all the plates last time, that bump in the middle of the road. We do things by the book here. Right, well, I was within 10 seconds of time again. Why would I hold the wheel at 10 and 2 in a bus? It just doesn't work. They're big and flat. Right. Let's grab the fonts folder. And the vehicles MSG3 pack 1.1 RC1 folder. That's a thick folder. Right, this will be the last thing we do today. Because it's 11 o'clock, I'm getting tired. It's time to start wrapping up. Well, maybe your driving's awful. Have you ever considered that? Oh, at least you don't use auto-centered keyboard steering. God, that's awful. It's the single worst way to control OMSI. Don't buy a cheap wheel, because a cheap wheel will be a spring-centered 90 degree one. Come on, come back to me. There we go. Right, Totnes is this way. Nina, Nina. That's a lot of emergency services. Hello, hello. You join me as I click my way over to... Hang on, there's no point in doing this. Because... There isn't actually a spawn point over there, so I'm going to need a spawn, then click my way over there, and then place the bus. Hello, my old friend. Yep. That is a lot of Nino. Are the AI files... balls. Are the AI files set up properly over there? Those sirens are brand new sirens. Yes, they are set up properly, unfortunately. That's as good as they're going to get. Best wheels to get. It depends what your budget's going to be. The best wheel to get would probably be the $1.5 grand Fanatec Simucube? It's a Simucube, isn't it? Simucube 2. That's the best wheel you can get, probably. In terms of compatibility and ecosystem. The number of different wheel rims you can use with it. If you're talking brand new, at the moment Fanatec has a really, really good deal on the TMX Pro, which is a proper 900 degrees of rotation steering wheel with a nice 3-pedal set. It's a really nice wheel. Well, it's a really nice entry-level wheel. And instead of £260 at the moment on their website, it's £160. Shut up! Nino, Nino. Yep. On a budget, your best options are a second-hand DFP Driving Force Pro, DFGT Driving Force GT, G25 or G27, all from Logitech. The only problem with them is that as they get older, the encoder disc tends to crack. It's a pretty simple fix, but it's a bit annoying to do. I've had to do it twice now. Let me just... That's the problem. Oh my god. Hiccups. Yeah, the rest is fine. We'll probably manage to change by the time I get onto another tile. That's better. Well, you should be able to pick up a good condition G27 for about £70 these days. A G25 for a bit less. So the G27 and the G25 both have a nice solid metal pedal set. And a gear lever, which is nice. The Driving Force Pro and the Driving Force GT both are... they're more entry-level wheels. I use a G27 with the pedals turned upside down. There we go. Yep. Well, I mean, it comes in handy in OMSI. Yeah, they look quite nice. I mean, it comes in handy in OMSI because if you're in a manual, an automatic bus, you can use it as a handbrake lever. If you're in a manual bus, you can obviously use it as a gear lever. Do you mean 3 and 4? Right, oh yeah, of course there's no schedules here. All I need to do is put up a destination. Paynton, here we go.
Hi there.
Ah, yes. Destinations.
Good day, driver.
Hello, mate.
Hiya, driver.
Why is my camera view not moving? Wait, have I got weird view controls on? Yeah, but isn't this the no, I've got my normal ones on. Oh well. Apparently I cannot move the camera anymore. Camera movement is now illegal. Oh no. Now it's moved. Oh good. I think this is the same hop as the other one. No, maybe not. Oh no, it's not smooth camera transitions I'm asking about. It's I currently can't move the view with the mouse, which is a new one. I prefer having smooth camera views off, but people watching on the stream prefer to have it on normally. So I'll turn it on for now. Ooh. Hang on. What are these views? That's weird. What's going on here? Something is... I'm just going to turn that back off again. No, I don't think that's Kyle's fault. I think something has gone wrong with Omzi's camera control because I can't manually move the camera anymore. Oh, Omzi. I am more willing to believe that Omzi is broken than anything else, if I'm honest. I mean, Omzi being broken is just sort of the way it works. But yeah, used Logitech wheels are almost bulletproof. Almost. The only thing that goes wrong in them is they have a plastic encoder disc, which is what tells the computer where the wheel actually is, like what angle you've got it at. And that encoder disc over time goes brittle and cracks, and when it cracks, the way that you'll notice is because it the steering starts sort of slipping from one side to the other. So you'll start out driving it with straight ahead being straight ahead, then as you drive it'll gradually move to being about 5 or 10 degrees off or something, and that's when you know your encoder disc's cracked. When that happens, the best thing to do is to take it apart. The encoder disc is behind a very hard to remove plastic cover. You have to be a bit brutal with it. Get a very narrow flathead screwdriver in there. And then you take off the cracked encoder disc, you take off the small PCB, you take off the cracked encoder disc, and you glue on a very small washer. Or you can just glue the thing back together with super glue, and that normally works. I've had to do this twice now for 2 Logitech wheels. One for my old Driving Force Pro and one for my current G27. Yeah. Hang on, I'm just going to add some text. No, not hashtag stint. Hashtag? Not stints drivers. Pro streamer. Absolute pro streamer. Just make that a bit smaller because that's a bit intrusive. There we go. So no timetable to worry about this time, just driving.
Oh,
Hello,
hello.
mate.
Yeah, that camera bug is a bit odd. That's new.
Hiya, driver.
I was on time, but I was having to try to be on time. I haven't actually bought it yet, because I added a few things to my basket and decided, you know what, that's... How much am I actually going to play these things? Oh, I've just remembered I actually need to go left. Because this is the new version where you go left instead of straight on. I don't know. It's not so much AI bugs, they'd be bugs if it was a finished product and there was something wrong with it. That's not so much AI bugs as just the AI hasn't been done yet. The paths have just been splatted down, so they'll follow them, but they won't give way or anything. Nothing's been actually set up properly. Yeah, that's true. No, oh god. Oh god. Oh no. Oh god. Numbers is never happy with something unless it was his idea. Does any of these people want to get in? Oh, come on, Omzi, you can do it. Nope, none of them wants to get in. Okay. That's fine. Maybe I shouldn't have come to this part of the map. We do not go to this dark place. Come on, work on a simulator instead. Let's stop flogging this dead horse. One thing that really bugs me is fog that doesn't blend into the skybox. Okay, fair play. Well, you see those houses in the distance there? They should just be blending into the skybox as you go further away. Ruh-roh. Omzi, you having texture memory problems?
we did.
OMSI and texture memory problems. Name a more iconic duo. Also ignore these traffic lights, they're not set up yet. Ignores that AI path. Like, who makes a 32-bit application in 2011? Especially a 32-bit simulation application. It's not even like just a tiny little application like a form or something. They made a simulator in 32-bit. Ooh, hello. Okay, something funny's going on here. Yeah. Yeah, but if you unlimit it, it tends to crash. It tends to overload and crash. Yeah, there's almost certainly something funny going on. But that's OMSI in a nutshell. Yeah, if I do that, it just crashes. 0 means unrestricted normally. Bus stop is also bus lane. I've had plenty. Just don't. Oh no. No. No map for us today. Why can't OMSI just be normal? Why didn't they just use a game engine? Oh well, right. I know how to fix this. Oh. Ah. Apparently being in the snow actually did fix it. Oh god. Being in the rain breaks it. Yeah, but as soon as I went back to the rain, it stopped working again. Oh god. I don't think I have rain reflections turned on. I never have. No, I never have stencil buffer effects on. Let's just try turning them off and then also turning them off in case they're not actually turned off. Nope. Oh. Maybe. No. Well, it's twilight fog now instead of rain. Why didn't they just pick a game engine which, you know, works? I mean, the options would have been more limited in 2011. Yeah, best weather's no fun. So do I. I like this new build housing estate here. Yes, but OMSI 2 is basically OMSI 1, but with some slight tile adjustments. Well, are you sure about that, though? I'm sure they could still have done all their own simulation inside somebody else's engine. I have also made the ambulances a lot nicer. As well as giving them better sounds, I've also updated the model quite significantly. I like this bit too. The reason I like this bit is basically these two stops here, which are on a really steep gradient, which is something that you just don't normally see in OMSI maps. Because gradients are hard to do, so not many people do it. Come on. Oh, you might not be able to notice from this angle. Oh god, OMSI's duping the parked car boxes again. You might not be able to notice it from this angle, but the AI police cars randomly generate roof codes. I mean, they don't do anything fancy, it's just a 3-number code. So the number one thing that I want to do better in my own sim than OMSI, the single biggest number one thing in the editor, I mean,
Hello there.
is make junction editing easier. I want you to be able to build a junction entirely within the editor and never have to leave it, and be able to set it up all in situ. And by build it, I mean including the surfaces, the curbs, everything. Then I will also include... I was going to have 3 ways of adding a junction. Actually no, basically just 2 ways of adding a junction. So you can either add a pre-made junction, or you can build your own junction out of components, not like solid components, but basically splines that you can move around and adjust radii of and etc. Or you'd be able to import them from Blender in the same way as OMSI. From what I've heard and seen, it's a lot more powerful than OMSI's editor, but a hell of a lot harder to use, and it has an interface from 1997. Do they still have that weird thing where you have to pick a plot of land in the real world? And this concept that everyone will build all of their maps in the same world? Yeah, I love the hills too. I'm not just bigging up my own work here, this is all IMX. Everything other than Barry Pomeroy was made by him here. Yeah, I hate that. I really hate that. At the very least, they should give you the ability to host one world on your own private server. So if you want a community server with a community world in it. Yeah, this area here I think is great. Oh god, this is one of the ones with the 35-mile-an-hour limiter on it. Yeah, the most important new feature of the bus, like there's a lot of new things with it, but the most important new feature of the bus, oh, they finally got rid of that dumbass system. Phew. The most important feature of this bus in the update, in my opinion, is the heavily optimized texture work. Because according to Kyle, it has about half the memory footprint it used to. It used to be the case that every time you looked away from the bus and then looked back at it, that it would white out and then take an age to load all the textures back in again. But now it's a lot more efficient. It's probably actually one of the lightest buses that you can get. Because that's what the real things are limited to. I don't think the UKDT really wants them at all. I think IMX is sticking with OMSI for the time being. And I want to do one last OMSI project and then move on to my own project. Yeah. Kyle and I had a chat about texture optimization. I've been doing a lot of research recently into texture optimizations and how to make good textures for video games. And we had a chat about it on stream, and since then he's gone through and basically tried out everything that I found out about. And in doing so, he has made the thing a hell of a lot more efficient. So it now has 2048 by 2048 main textures. Everything is a DDS texture. There are a lot of textures which are a lot smaller than they used to be, which means that they are a lot more efficient. So all in all, it's just all good news. You can't notice a single lower quality part of the model, and yet it takes up half the memory footprint, which I think is an absolute win. Cottrell 3? We haven't even done Cottrell 2. Oh boy, I sure do like 38 miles an hour. 39. Wow. Oh yeah, this stop's still here. So, our plans at the moment are Botwickle 3 and Cottrell 2. Yeah, no, I understand that logic. But yeah, it's such a weird system. Like, I mean, I just kind of have a problem with the fact that they thought that was a good idea in the first place. Like, how could they think that was a good idea? It just feels like they're pretty out of touch with their own user base. So yeah, Cottrell 2, I'm not sure this has been revealed publicly yet, but I might as well just... We don't really try to keep things secret in the UKDT. It is a slight expansion of Cotterell, a significant quality improvement, slight expansion. The route is being extended and a depot is being added. There's one other important thing about it that I am going to keep a secret for now. Yep. Then Bus of the West Country 3, plan's still the same. It's going to release with the 12, the 35, the X35, and the Park and Ride. Yeah, I don't understand. Who thought that was... Well, no, there's a very small number of people who might have thought that that would be a good idea. It was Marcel or Janine. Those are the only two people who have anything to do with it. He's still making his own game engine from scratch again. Why?
Good day, driver. One or two.
It worked so well last
Hello.
time.
What? Hello, mate. Hi there.
Yeah, the oh, bonk. Wonder what that was. I probably caught the back axle on something. No, OMSI used its own proprietary engine, and Lotus is using its own proprietary engine too. Once again, developed by one person from the ground up. Like, one person from the ground up will work very well for a very small little indie game. I mean, I guess OMSI kind of is a small little indie game, but at the same time, you're never going to match the performance and optimizations of one that has been tended for years by professional developers. Well, actually, no, you'll never match one that's been... I'm just going to go for it. Tended for years by open source developers, because they tend to make much nicer code than professional ones. Because the next guy along needs to be able to read the code in order to be able to do anything with it. Famously, look at the source engine source code. Yeah, whatever sim I make, whether it's Unreal or Unity, I've sort of made a small start in Unity. I've made editable terrains that you can add bits to. That's literally it. Well, no, I've done a few other experiments as well. Like a performance test, for instance, just throwing together something that vaguely resembles a map. Vehicles with mirrors and seeing how they perform. See, I think so too, which is why I want to build one. It's not as simple as just use Unreal, because using a commercial game engine does come with its own limitations. Yeah, I don't think there's as big of a market for bus simulators as there is for train simulators, but I do think there's a big market for a city builder that you can also drive around in, and which has a fully functional bus simulator embedded into it. Yeah. Though TSW is extremely pretty. Yep. Unity would be the easiest thing to make it in. I'm just afraid of falling into that trap of starting out in Unity and then finding out the performance is terrible. Too far down the line and having to switch engines quite late on. I don't want to fall down that trap. But at the same time, I'm pretty confident that I could put something together reasonably promptly in Unity. Partly just because there's an enormous number of of pre-made plugins that you can buy that will do just about everything for you. So for instance, there is a really good... The trickiest thing is making runtime level editors. But there is a really good runtime level editor already available for Unity, which you can buy a license for about 40 quid. And, you know, there you go, step 1, done. Level editor, made. Needs custom skinning, and I need to build my own custom junction system from scratch, because that's going to have to be completely custom to meet the requirements that I have for it. Force feedback is going to have to be complete from scratch, whichever engine I use. The really tricky thing, the reason why it's never going to look as good as a AAA game, other than having a much smaller and less experienced developer base, is because any modern game, the way they're built is when you build the game in the game engine, you build it, and then what you do is you bake it. You bake all the mapping data into the level and save it as a texture. And that means that the world looks visually amazing. You're going to crash into me, aren't you? The world looks visually amazing, and the performance is still pretty light, because it's not having to render all that lighting at runtime, which is very expensive. 2 reasons I can't do that. One is times will be shifting all the time, so I can't even bake lighting data, which is the more modern way of doing it. Rather than baking a texture, you bake all the light data so that you don't have to calculate all the lighting every time. So you still have to draw the textures every time, but you draw it from pre-created data. If that makes sense. So that's reason 1 why I can't do it, and reason 2 why I can't do it is because I need to edit levels at runtime. And because I'm editing them at runtime, I can't bake the lighting unless I were to bake it at runtime. And neither Unity nor Unreal exposes their light map baking at runtime. It would be possible to edit the Unreal source code, because Unreal does come with all its source code, to allow you to expose the light mapping. But that's then turning into trying to work out how to bodge a game engine into doing something it really wasn't designed to do. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Yeah, unfortunately, it's never going to look like a AAA game. But at least I hope I can make something that looks better than this. At the very least, if I could just do this but with shadows, it would already be a hell of an improvement. Maybe HDR as well, that would be nice. Okay, actually, this but with shadows still doesn't look that good, as Lotus has proved. Well, OMSI has specular too. I used it on the C400 interior mouldings. Oh, right, specular mapping, not just blunt specular values. I would like to do multiplayer as well. But that's sort of an aside. But it would be cool. What I would like to do is I'd like to be able to have community hosted servers, kind of like 5M basically. If you know that mod framework, multiplayer mod framework for GTA 5, I'd like people to be able to host community servers where you can, where you can walk around, where you can do jobs, where you can drive around. One thing I'd really like you to be able to do is get on other people's buses and have them drive you round. The mechanics of actually being able to walk inside vehicles would probably be a bit complex. They might actually, I mean, it might not be that hard actually, because you might be able to do just a simple sort of nav mesh plane. So if you just define places to sit, and define a simple navigation mesh which defines where the corridors are, which restricts where your character is able to walk around inside the vehicle, that should be reasonably simple to implement. And the other things I'd do is, as soon as you got within a vehicle's influence, if that makes sense, as soon as you boarded a vehicle, you would immediately be parented to it and you'd inherit all motion from it.
Good day, driver.
So the tricky thing with multiplayer is AI traffic, because either all of the AI traffic would have to be done server-side, which means the server would constantly be having to calculate the positions of every AI car and every AI and every human vehicle being rendered. You know what I mean. I mean, it'd be more realistic than just vanishing. Look at this, a cycle path which is completely nicely segregated from traffic and then just vanishes into a bus stop and parked cars. Now that's realism. But yeah, AI would be the problem for multiplayer. The simplest option is to do what Truckers MP does and just ignore AI traffic, but I think that would be missing out a significant part of the world. So, my intention would be that the traffic is rendered locally. So, I mean, calculated locally, obviously rendered locally. No roadblocks. I should have gone left there. This is the alternative route. I mean, it'd be simple enough to have AI traffic driving around. It's just they wouldn't interact with any of the other players. So if you saw another player bus coming the other way in a queue of traffic, like there might for instance be a queue of traffic on their screen but not on your screen, so they'd just be stopped in the middle of the road, or cars might just be merrily clipping through them. So the AI traffic needs to somehow know where both player vehicles are. I am taking the wrong route at the moment. I ought to have gone left back there. So my intention would be that when two player vehicles come within AI draw distance of each other, that AI duties are handed off to one of those players. So then that one player calculates the AI for both players. So that way it would keep the server requirements minimal, because that's one thing that I'd like, is in order to be able to achieve individual communities being able to run their own servers. No, it doesn't, I'm afraid. in order to be able to achieve individual communities running their own servers, the server requirements need to be kept light in order for the servers to be cheap to run. So any load I can take off the servers is a good thing. And that means that it would be much better to be able to deal with AI traffic positioning on the client side rather than the server side. I mean, obviously, there's if you're looking at doing AI traffic client side, there's two ways you could do that. One way of doing that would be to just have each of them render their own AI traffic completely independently of each other. So both of them know where both the player buses or something. Know where both the player buses are, sorry. But both of them calculates their AI independently. That has the advantages that you then don't need to send AI data. You don't need to send positions, speeds, turning angles for every AI vehicle between the two clients. But it has the disadvantage that, again, if one person is in a traffic jam on their screen, they might just be stopped in the middle of the road on somebody else's screen. So it kind of works, kind of doesn't. It would be sort of a middle of the road solution. It would be quite easy to implement, because all you do in that case is just you've got AI traffic which knows how to deal with player vehicles. So all you do is you introduce a second player vehicle, and they respond to the second player vehicle in the exact same way they respond to the first player vehicle. But yeah, like I say, that will look different on the two players' screens because they're both rendering their own traffic locally. Unless they both spawn their AI with the exact same seed? I don't know. It would be very hard to synchronize that. So my idea was instead to hand off all of the AI duties to one person's computer. They do all the AI work, and then they just transmit the coordinates back to the other person. Problem with that is then suddenly, instead of just sending your vehicle coordinates to all the other players, you're now sending your vehicle coordinates and the coordinates of potentially hundreds of other vehicles at the same time to the other person. So suddenly the peer-to-peer transmission requirements are a lot heavier. So, you know, there's... And then the other option, the more sort of normal option, would be just to have the central server know the locations of every vehicle in the map and just calculate all the AI. But that again requires much heavier, much more powerful servers.
Hello, mate. Hi there.
Hello, Doc 3 to Leo.
Hello.
Hi, handsome. Morning, sweetie.
Yep, that's why my intention would be to detect which person has the better PC. So, run a very, very simple performance benchmark on them. Work out how good their PC is, and then use the better PC to deal with the AI. I mean, keep in mind, you're not rendering the AI traffic here. You're not doing the drawing of it. All you're doing is working out the positions of it and how it needs to respond to its surrounding environment. I'm going to ignore that bus stop because I was already ignoring it. So there's a lot of challenges like that which need to be faced up to. I've been putting quite a lot of thought into it, and most of the thought has been coming up with new problems. Yep, this is the, as it says in the bottom right corner, the Master Bus Gen3 version 1.1 pack, which is a significant update over the original pack. Updated things include significantly improved performance. The texture memory footprint is halved. Excuse me, with no loss in visual fidelity. The new open top version, better sounds, rattle sounds. This one I don't think has the rattle sounds. Yeah. It's just better all round. It is a nice improvement. And the map is Buses of the West Country 3, which, as it notes in the bottom right corner, is also currently incomplete. The main thing that's incomplete, you will see a few gaps in the scenery, and the most noticeable thing that's incomplete is the AI traffic is not set up properly yet. Also, Dylan, I saw a question a while back. I am thinking of making an MP for my own simulator, because OMSI is old and broken, and every time I start developing for it again I remember how much I kinda love and definitely hate developing for it. And I figure that I'm fresh out of uni, I know a bunch of people who are good at programming. I reckon I can do a better job. I think. I hope. We'll find out. But before that I do intend to do one last OMSI project. Also, I hope you like this AI traffic, because this is what's coming to London. I might see if I can make a few texture improvements to the Mini and the Ford, because they're a bit eh. Anyway, I've rambled on about that for long enough. What do you think? What are your ideas? What do you want? I think that's the way they are in real life. Yep, you need to ask Right Bus that. Yeah, those lights definitely aren't blue enough, are they? They can't be blue enough. For some reason, IMAX really doesn't like this dual carriageway he's made, but I think it's great. The traffic's a bit mad at the moment. But yeah, if you wanted a replacement for OMSI, what would be on your bucket list? Because the main things for me are in-editor junction making, Control-Z. Actually, that's the main thing, really. In-editor junction editing, Control-Z, better graphics, and better stability, and better frame rate. There you go, 5 things. Better AI is a thing that I would like to try to do. Simpler scripting is... basically you mean not reverse Polish, don't you? Yep. Whatever I make, scripting will be Lua. Because both... both Unreal and Unity have a both Unreal and Unity have plugins that allow you to do sandboxable Lua script. The important thing about making the game scriptable is that I need to make the scripts powerful enough to do whatever the user wants to do with them, but I also need them not to be able to just run any old arbitrary code. So like, I can't just let you code in C# and plug that into the game as a DLL and then be able to delete System32 from anyone's computers. Yep. One thing I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to have bus scripting that you can just plug parameters into.
Hiya, driver.
What? Hello there.
103D, good day, driver.
Yes, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yep, it would be perfectly possible to add a little bit of logic to the passengers which determines where they prefer to sit. Control what passengers get on what buses. Yep, so school children on school routes. Yeah, I'd like to have plug-in scripts, so I'd like to have templates for certain bits, like gearboxes. So if you want a certain type of gearbox, then you can either write your own gearbox script from the ground up, which extends a gearbox script class and has all the right inputs and outputs, or you can take one of the pre-made ones and just plug it in and change the parameters on it to what you need. Fmod. Another thing I want to do is proper triple screen support, so triple projection. Scrolling displays. A working ferry system is an interesting requirement. Scrolling destination displays, yep. That's more difficult. That's the kind of thing I've been more inclined to hand off to somebody else to do. Because I have the things that I'm interested in, ignore the entirety of all of the emergency services of the West Country. The things that I'm interested in are the map editing and the driving. Those are the things that I am really interested in and have a really clear picture for how I would like them to work. And the multiplayer to an extent. Things like ticket machine scripting or destination display lighting, etc. That's never been that's never been anything. I don't find that as interesting as some people seem to find it. So I'm not the best person to think about that. So that's the kind of thing which I would prefer to hand off to another developer if one were to fancy joining me to do such a thing. Okay, sound engine. Cool.
Oh,
Hello, mate.
So,
103D.
when you say it's a sound engine, do you just mean that the thing you like is
Hello.
the way it sounds? Like, or is there a certain way of scripting sounds for it that you like, or what do you like about it? Yeah, that's another thing. Not tying physics to frame rate. Physics will be based on an underlying constant refresh rate CPU cycle, and the game will slow down if it gets below the point where it can calculate the physics, rather than it's still doing the same time step and doing the physics based on that physics calculations based on that time step. That does sound nice. Hi. Oh, that's another thing I'd like to do. Outside of game asset preview. I want to be able to preview sounds and objects and vehicles outside the game.
Hello.
So you don't have to launch the
Hello.
entire game
Hi
to
there.
test a vehicle.
Oh.
Yes, that's incredibly annoying. Come on. Yeah. Then route making. Yes, the main thing which I think we're doing about, what are we doing? 8 miles an hour. Here we go. The main thing I want to make easy with route making is junctions, because I think that's the biggest hold up to people making good custom maps. Because if you want to make junctions, you either have to sort of piece them together out of splines, or use ones that other people have made, which might not fit your purpose, or make them yourself in Blender. The latter two are both relatively complex to do, and it's also extremely difficult to make junctions on a hill. Bonk. Bonk. OMSI timetabling is kind of okay. Now there's a lot to be learned from the way that OMSI has done stuff, because there's a lot of things that OMSI does do right, to be fair. Otherwise we wouldn't still be playing it. So there's a lot of stuff which can be learnt from it directly. I'm enjoying having this conversation, by the way. I bet as soon as Numbers gets his hands on those AI emergency vehicles, he's going to change the RGB values of the emergency lights. Yeah, no, this is a nobody tell him how. Let him seethe. No, this has been a very interesting conversation. I am very interested to hear what people want. There's two reasons, well, kind of two reasons, I guess, why I want to hear what people want. I want to make the sim the best that I can, both because I want it to be the best it can be, because I want to play with it, and I want to have fun with it, and in order to play with it and have fun with it, I want other people to be making stuff for it and enjoying it. Also, I want other people to enjoy it and make stuff for it. I want to make something that people want to play. Yep, I mean you can kind of do that in OMSI, because you can do that with set vars on repaints. It's just not very many developers bother to set up that many things with set vars. That's harder, because buildings, you basically have to do all the geometry from the ground up, so they kind of have to be done in an external program. There's not much I can do about that. Ability to do shifts, yeah, there's no problems there. You can already do that in OMSI. You just set up a timetable rotor. No, I'm just interested to hear what people want. Yes, 3D clouds. Absolutely 3D clouds. And lights which light up the road, like, regardless of how many polygons there happen to be in front of you. So you don't just get 3 triangles if you're, 3 triangles lit up if you're, on a straight stretch of road. I mean, what do you mean by dynamic rain? Probably both. There's a very slow tsunami inbound. Yeah, proper lighting, absolutely. But proper lighting just comes with using a decent game engine. Comes built in. Don't have to think about it. Bonk. I have no idea how to implement that. I love the way it looks, but I have no idea how to implement it. One thing I do know how to implement, though, is dynamic snow. As in snow which is actually 3D and is deformed when you drive across it. OMSI force feedback is a bit hit and miss. It's very simplistic force feedback. Bonk. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. That would make it hugely more realistic. Like, if there's one thing that would make maps look more realistic, it's that. Yeah, that bug. I love that bug. Just gonna crunch this taxi. Hi, crunch. Bonk. And run over the curb. We're on top standard today. Also, cars not going boop, bop, bop, bop when they go over a speed bump. That would be nice. Crunch. Reversing AI. Yes. Very hard to do. But yes, that's essential. It might be hard to do, but it won't be impossible. But, like, look at this. Going back to OMSI for a second, look at what Jaden's managed to do. He's managed to put that junction inclined in 2 directions and not have any gaps in the curbs at all where they meet. That is nigh on impossible. Yep. Well, I want to make Cambridge bus station. I want to do a demo map, which is Cambridge, because Cambridge is a great map to do a demo of, because it has electric buses, city buses, rural buses, and a guided busway. Which means it shows off every kind of bus I want to include, except trolley buses. So I would like to build... It does have B5 TLs though. And B8 TLs. And they're repainting all of our Scanias in bile green. So there are three maps, I guess. I guess 3 maps that I'd like to include to start with. I want to build Cambridge, because Cambridge can be used to show off pretty much everything that I want to do. So everything except the trolley buses, and the other one I want to make is Geneva. Those are the two places I'd like to build to start off with. And then the first DLC that I want to make is the original Route Master with a 1960s map to go with it. Though that might have to be part of the base content. Because I can't think of anything that would draw non-bus simulator people to a bus simulator more than a Route Master. Like an actual proper Route Master, modelled down to the finest detail. One thing I really want to do is be able to script variable reluctance to starting, like flat batteries and that kind of thing. So like you turn the key over, it's cold, the bus doesn't start, so you turn all the lights off just so the battery has just enough juice in it to be able to start. You crank it over a bit more, it's warm and it finally catches. I want that level of immersion. I also want proper triple screen support. Yep, I know where I can get hold of an original Route Master with an AEC engine. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my god, what is going on here? Bonk. The hell is that? You could do that with OMSI, yes. But that's the kind of thing where I want to be able to do the same amount as OMSI. Yeah, the other piece of content I would want to do is I would want to have something from America and something from Hong Kong. But then we're talking about additional content after that point. I'd prefer SatNav. And the main thing I need, the number one thing I need to be able to do this, achieve this and make this a success is I need content creators on my side from the word go. Because OMSI, yep, distant scenery, that's another thing that I can deal with. My intention was to make the terrain render infinitely and then only render objects that are close to you. We're going to crash through these guys again. But I need content creators on my side from the word go. Because OMSI took a while to get off the ground, because for the first 3 years or so, everything looked like Berlin, because the only content was Berlin. I want more of a starting than that. I want there to be more content built in that can be picked up and used. I really like this area as well. This area just feels like a slightly crummy town centre. It feels absolutely right. But yeah, I want to make the best simulator I can to let content creators make the best content they can make. And in exchange, I would like to get some content creators on side early on, because I want a good starting content base to draw people into the sim early. Lol. Whee! So, join me, and we will rise up. We will rise up against Lotus. Oh, I love this bus stop. Together we
Right,
can
idea.
create a better world.
Driver.
Hello, mate.
Oh god.
Hello.
Yeah, I hate rain meshes. Absolutely hate them. They're one of the worst parts of making buses. Just additional layer meshes. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to be able to have to make a whole new mesh for each of these things. You should just need to. You should just be able to add a new texture layer onto the existing mesh. Yeah. I mean, if you imagine starting at day one with a street deck, with a street light, with an Enviro 400 MMC, with a Renown, with at least 2 base game maps, which have a significant amount of variety between them. And with an editor that anyone can pick up and start playing with. Yep, that's why I want to do Geneva. So the Cambridge starter map would be single-deckers, double-deckers, electric buses and guided buses. That would be the Cambridge map, because it would have the City 4, which has the BYD Enviro 400s on it. It would have the Park and Rides, which have the Enviro 400 MMCs on them. It would have some of the rural routes, like maybe the City 7 or something. And it would have the entire guided busway. Yeah, I love the sound of the guide rollers on the guideway buses. I commuted to work in them for a good year or so. My favourite seat is the third row from the back on the left in one of the Euro 4 B7 RLEs. That's the best seat in the house. Because they're sort of cocooned in around the seats in front of you and behind you. You can put your knees up. You're kind of hidden. There's a small window which lines up perfectly with where you are, so you can rest your arm on the windowsill on the side. And you're right over the rear axle. And since it's a Euro 4 B7 RLE, they sound magical. Proper Howley gearboxes. The Euro 5s don't make anything like such a good sound. Like, I would take a Euro 4 B7 RLE over a B8 RLE over a Euro 5 B7 RLE. Because when you take away the gearbox whines from a B7 RLE, it just makes an annoying whining noise from the front wheel arches. Like, the sounds that you're left over with are just irritating sounds. You don't have any of the fun sounds anymore. Whereas the B8 RLEs have a really fun steering pump sound. Like, as you turn the steering wheel, the pump goes whee! So, like, you can hear it as you go hand over hand. So as you put each hand on the wheel, like, if I turn like this now, so whee, 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 I find that sound so much fun. Yeah, it's difficult because you need to make the sound vary. Like, the pumps need to have inertia to them, like engines do. But you also need to vary them with the amount of steering force, not with the steering speed or anything. So I guess what you could do, can you pull the force feedback data out anywhere? Can you pull out the values for how strong the force feedback currently is, how much force feedback is currently being applied? Because if you can, that's what you'd want to tie it to. Bollocks. In which case, the simplest answer is just tie it to rate of change of steering angle. Like, check the steering angle on one frame, check the steering angle on the next frame, check the time gap between them, work out the speed that the steering is going at between those two frames. Then set that as a target speed, and then ramp up a sound to meet that target speed. So ramp up a variable to meet the target speed. Rather than just going, okay, that is the speed that the wheel's turning at, so that's the speed the pump's going at. Yes, it is differentiation. That's exactly what it is. Differentiation is extremely useful. Yeah, you could use that to set a target speed, and then somehow doing something very similar to the engine scripts, I guess. You could use that to ramp up and down the pump sound. But if you can just use force feedback, vibration, integration. Force feedback vibration isn't what you're after. Because that'll be force feedback effects, that'll be things like the steering wheel shuddering and, you know, that kind of thing. The stuff that I leave turned off. Ugh. Imagine a simulator where you can start a map, and when you start building the map, there's a button which you tick, or a checkbox, which says left-hand drive, right-hand drive. Imagine that. Imagine a world with a map editor with that button, instead of having to add it in the config file with no documentation telling you how to add it. Imagine not having to do everything in plain text files. I hope you mean tiring instead of tiresome. I mean, that is true. It is nice just being able to load up Notepad rather than being able to rather than having to load up the whole game in order to do anything, or load up a code editor. Or not. You know what I mean. Load up a special game tool just to make simple changes.
Oh my god.
I think the compromise here is that what you do is you offer an object creation or a vehicle creation tool which lets you preview the vehicle or object out of the game, so that you don't have to load up the whole game just to test it. And in that, you offer a bunch of presets. Double reflections would be extremely hard. Reflections add an enormous amount of extra rendering time. They're very expensive in any game engine. But yeah, you'd have a bunch of preset options which you can edit quite quickly in the importing tool. Or you can open up the file in Notepad and edit it manually. So if you want to make quick changes and you know what you're doing, you just edit it up. You just open it up in Notepad and go for it. Whee! Yeah. I don't know if OMSI goes so far as to simulate that. I don't think the bus body actually has any collision physics with the ground at all. Like, it certainly doesn't if you roll the bus. Like, I wouldn't put it... I wouldn't suggest that OMSI goes so far as to simulate that. I think what it is just the wheels are clipping into a bit where the... I don't have collisions on. I think the wheels are just clipping into a bit where two splines overlap. Right. Oh boy. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. These are fine. These are completely fine. They wouldn't get dirty. They wouldn't get dirty at all. No, not those. No dirt mapping needed there. Yeah, these guys are all just going to sit here in the depot. No, I insist on my fog lights being dirt mapped. Alright? I insist. Yeah, it's sort of a... It's part way done. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he has enough, honestly. Anyway. That's enough rambling. That was a nice chat about making a sim. I enjoyed that chat. Let me just turn that text off so I don't forget the next time I start streaming. Yeah. Oh, have you been looking at my chest this whole time? Oh, I'm a good streamer. Such a good streamer. Now it's stopped. Titty cam. Oh yeah. Oh man. Yep. Well, I'm gonna have to say goodbye with my feet then instead. Alright. Why camera? Why camera, no camera? Oh, whatever. Whatever. Right. I will talk to you later. That was a fun chat about what a good new simulator would have in it.